30 years have since passed, and while a whole lot has changed, the song remains the same. The Wolf still rocks.
Hey there, it's Brian Ellis, morning show host, 101.5 The Wolf. We continue our Wolf 30th birthday video series. We launched the station February 14th, 1992. And along the way, this guy was with us at The Wolf. We say hello to Ryan Snodden. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Good to see you.
Great to see you.
Thanks for taking time. It's been a lot of fun chatting with announcers and staff that have been with us over the 30 years. You were a part of our history. And when did you join the Wolf?
Well, I joined the Wolf back in 2000 and I guess it would be 2004. And that's kind of, funny enough, Lisa McDonald was the recruit. She was she came down to Loyalist College, and I had a great chat with her. And she, obviously we got in contact, and so she was able to weasel me in there some way. And I started doing weekends. And, one of the big things that first happened when I arrived there that kind of threw me in head first was the flood.
Yeah, the flood.
The big flood. And that was so crazy. I mean, you remember that. Obviously, everybody remembers that. But, I was barely out of Loyalist. And next thing I knew, I think, we won't tell the work board this, but I think I worked a 13 or 14 hour shift on, and much of that on the air. So that was kind of that was a great first, wow, I'm here, wow, I'm doing this. And so that was pretty cool, a pretty cool way to start the job. And so those first few months I was kind of doing some work with you guys, obviously at the Wolf, and then obviously on the TV side I was doing a bit of work on the Czech side as well. But I think my first really big break after I got there, the best thing that ever happened to me was Alana Cameron got pregnant.
That's right. So Alana got pregnant and went on mat leave, and then you started to co-host with Jay Sharp.
That's right. And so how it was framed to me was nobody else wants to wake up at 4 a.m. Will you do it? It was obviously, and again, I had graduated in June, and I think she went off on mat leave in September, and I had never met Jay. So it was definitely, obviously we were just kind of winging it, which ended up being what we did anyway. Even after that, and it meshed so well. We got along so well, and I just had such a great time. And that year flew by, even though I still actually, because I didn't know I was getting the job in Peterborough, I still had a house in Belleville I was renting with some friends. So I was driving back and forth and staying with some family in Peterborough. But that was a fun year. That was so much fun, and getting to know. Of course, Melnick on the AM side was working on. Mike Melnick was working on, and of course John Badham, and being in the newsroom with him every morning and just hearing the stories that he would tell. And I mean, it was such a great experience. And of course, at that time we were doing a lot of shows out on the street, as you remember. So there was it was so much fun. It was so much fun. And I was really kind of fretting as that year was coming to an end and Alana was getting set to come back. And I was just so lucky that they found a way to keep me. And so when Alana came back, it became the Jay, Alana, and Ryan show, which was so much fun as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked about doing shows on the street. So for those that don't know, at one point in time, we were broadcasting. Our studio was downtown Peterborough, corner of King and George. Now we've since moved to Monaghan Road with our friends at Czechs Global Peterborough. But that was a fun time to be able to just go outside on the street and do those broadcasts and meet all the listeners.
Absolutely, and I think those live shows on the street, just, there's obviously a lot of people who work downtown, so it kind of brought the community together there. And those were really fun shows. Now, Of course, as you remember, being on the corner of King and George, especially in those wee early morning hours around 5, you might see a few colorful characters walking past and
Yeah.
waving to you at that hour as well, which was all part of the fun. And it was that was definitely, I had forgotten that you guys have of course now moved down and
Yeah.
are now with the Czechs crew. So
We certainly are. And when you were in Loyalist, so you took broadcast journalism, right?
that's
So
right.
news was sort of your goal, and then you started it with news with us, and then you made that transition to on air as well, which I really think sort of kind of helped your career along, because all of a sudden you were way more comfortable chatting off the cuff, which has translated into when you moved over to the weather side on checks.
Absolutely. And it's funny, when I was getting ready to graduate, if you would ask me, then, do you want to do radio or do you want to do TV? And I wanted to do radio.
Okay.
I really liked the off the cuff stuff most. And so I felt, news was a great way in to the industry, and I did like that element of it, but I really like the off the cuff stuff, and so I really that's why I love doing the morning show so much, and that's why it was tough to transition to TV when I did when Peter Fiakovsky retired. And the job came up. I really thought long and hard about it, but what's interesting about what I do now is, and you hit the nail on the head, I really have the most radio-like TV job there is, where there's no script, there's no teleprompter. You go out, the camera comes on, and you wing it. And that's really what I loved most about radio, and what I ended up finding on the weather side of things. So that was a really tough decision, obviously, to leave the Wolf and go to Czechs full time. I still did a few phone-ins, obviously, with you every day in the afternoons, and I would phone into Jay once in a while as well in the mornings. But yeah, it really that start with the Wolf and being able to learn how to improvise, and Jay was so good at it and really taught me a lot in those first few years, and that's really what kind of set me on my path to be able to do what I do now.
So let's talk about that. Where are you now? I know you're married, kids, so give us a bit of an update.
Yeah. So perhaps the one big thing that I've gained from the Wolf more than any other thing in my whole life is my wife. She came in when I was working on the morning show. She was working for Service Canada, which is on King Street there. She was doing promoting their job fair that they were having. So she came in to do a promotional interview, and so we met in the Wolf studio, and yeah, I got the courage to ask her the second time she came back for an interview, and yeah, we connected right away, and yeah, so obviously started dating. And after I went to Czechs, and I was at Czechs for a couple of years, and then CBC came calling, and we moved to St. John's, Newfoundland, and I was there for, I guess we were there for 10 years. And of course, I went through and did meteorology and kind of tidied up things on the back end of that. And we had 2 boys while we were in Newfoundland, and covering all the stormy weather there. But my wife is actually originally from here, from Halifax. And so we had the chance to jump here in 2018, and I'm still with the CBC, so I was able to kind of move within the company, and now I'm covering weather for Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, and I do the late night Atlantic Canada show, so I still cover Newfoundland as well for the late night show. So,
but you're based out of where again?
I'm based out of Halifax.
So what's funny about that is the number of former Wolf staff that are in Halifax. Griff Henderson does a morning show in Halifax. Brad Dryden does a morning show in Halifax, both former morning show hosts. Jeff Brown is working in Halifax doing a morning show. Again, he was one of our first morning show hosts.
I didn't know that Jeff was in the Wolf. Yeah, I listen to Jeff here now on Surge.
So Jeff Brown, in fact, Jeff Brown is a Peterborough guy, and he was with the Wolf from day one.
Interesting. Oh,
He was
wow.
one of the guys that worked with us all, and we got the Wolf off the ground with Bob Harris, our program director. So yeah, Jeff was with the Wolf from day one. That's so funny that there's so many former Wolf people in Halifax right now. That's great.
Yeah, we'll have to have a get together.
Absolutely. Listen, Ryan Snodden, thanks so much for chatting. A lot of fun, and thanks for the update. Glad to hear things are going well.
Thanks so much for reaching out. Always love my
And
time
by
with
the
the
way, I
Wolf.
was going to say, I like that. The retro Wolf tooth there. Very nice. Hang on to that.
Absolutely.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Brian. Good to see you.